This is the 2025 Jeep Wagoneer S, Jeep's first ever EV. And in today's video, I'm going to be telling you everything you need to know about this car, from the specs, the interior, the exterior, and last but not least, the driving experience, which, hint, is going to be insane. And so, let's go. And well, first thing first, we're going to talk about is the specs, because this car's powered by two permanent magnet synchronous electric motors. Probably the weirdest name in the world for electric motors, but it's powered by two of those, one in the front axle and one in the rear axle. And well, that helps you create, wait for it, 600 horsepower and 617 pound-feet of torque. I'll also show that to you guys in newton meters and kilowatts as well, just so you guys know if you're in another country. And then, well, that goes through all four wheels via a 1-speed automatic transmission to help this car rocket to 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds, which this is probably the fastest SUV I've ever reviewed, because, well, that 0 to 60 is wild. This thing literally keeps up with the likes of the Audi S6 e-tron, which I actually reviewed recently. You can see a link to that video right there, but I reviewed that recently, and that has a 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds. This is 0 to 60 in 3.4. So this is the wildest electric car pretty much I've ever reviewed. Well, pretty much electric SUV I reviewed. And well, it can keep up with some crazy cars. And well, that also has a top speed of 124 miles an hour, which, I mean, truthfully, it's not that great, because something like a Mazda Miata can reach around 130, and a Nissan Sentra can reach 124, actually the exact same speed. But the reason why is actually because, well, with electric cars, you actually can't reach like insanely high speeds. I mean, unless you're talking about some wild stuff like the Porsche Taycan Turbo GT or Rimac Nevera R, like stuff like that can reach crazy speeds. But most, or at least most more normal electric cars can only reach speeds of like under 130, because like something like a Tesla Cybertruck only hits 111 miles an hour. But I mean, I believe that's because of those electric motors. Well, it's just they can't spin fast enough. At least that's how I understand it. They can't spin fast enough to reach those type of speeds. But, I mean, it could be multiple things. And so, I've told you those insane performance figures. The 0 to 60, the top speed, and that actually Porsche 911 Turbo S rivaling horsepower. Because the 992.1 Porsche 911 Turbo S, which is showing right there, has 640 horsepower. This 600, so you're only 40 horsepower down for like $200,000 cheaper, even though, I mean, the Turbo S will smoke this because that is a supercar, but horsepower wise this is super duper close. But anyways, never mind that. Most people are probably wondering, I'm watching this video and, well, they probably care more about the range of this car, because I mean, who wouldn't? If you're buying a new car, especially if it's an EV, you want good range, because a lot of them, to tell the truth, have terrible range. But, well, this car has 320 miles of range. So this thing has actually a crazy good amount of range for Jeep's first ever EV. And actually, the Wagoneer name has been around since 1963. I'll dig into the history of that a little bit more later on in the video. But you have 320 miles of range, which is great for Jeep's first EV. You have 93 miles per gallon electric, which is also actually quite good. And, well, the battery size is also huge, because I haven't told you guys that yet, but you actually have 101.3 kilowatts of battery. So you have a large battery. And actually, I gave you guys a hint of how the car was like when it was driving a little earlier, but when we drive this thing, you'll see it is quite heavy, but the performance is insane, because, well, I'll just show you later how quick this thing is. But yeah, so I told you the 0 to 60, I told you the top speed, I told you everything about the performance in the range that you need to know. Now you guys are probably wondering, well, one thing, what is the price? Because, I mean, with this wild design, And it actually looks quite good in my opinion, even though I'm not a fan of a lot of Jeeps to tell the truth, but this one looks quite good. You're probably wondering what the price is, and I can't tell you guys yet. I'm not gonna tell you guys yet. Well, the price is under 70 grand, but above 50 grand, so it's right in the middle there, and personally, I think that's a little bit high for a Jeep EV, but tell me down below what you guys think when I actually reveal the price. But so that is a rough estimate of what the price is going to be. You guys have to wait a little longer to find out. But now actually let's move on to a couple things I like about the design of this car, because well, to tell the truth, there's a lot of things, but I'm only going to outline a couple. One, you have this really nice like LED headlight coming across the front of this car, and actually for people who don't know, the LED headlight was originally, I guess, founded, you could say, or created by Hyundai, which is a Korean car company that I bet a lot of you have heard of, but Hyundai originally created this like light bar type of trend, and now so many cars have it. But yeah, and then also I really like the aero rims here. I don't know if you guys could see them, but you have this really nice like aero rims. They're all actually metal. This is metal, but this is like a thick layer of plastic, but they're more like aerodynamic looking, so it's also a little easier to tell that this is an EV because, well, it has those more like aerodynamic looking rims. And then I'm also a huge fan of the way the roof slants back into this beautiful little wing with the really nice rear light bar back there as well. But those are just a couple things I like about it. I'm not going to tell you guys everything yet because, well, I still have to show the car to you, but yeah. And so now let's go on to the history of this car because, well, that's probably one of the most interesting parts because this car was created in 1963 as the Jeep Wagoneer. It was Jeep's first ever, I guess you could say, full-size SUV, and actually probably the first ever period full-size SUV, not just Jeeps, but probably the first ever SUV that was full-size. And well, that was pretty cool, and it was originally only optional in rear-wheel drive, but then later on you got the option of all-wheel drive as well, which made it more versatile and made it more off-roady. But then in 1966 there was the Jeep. It was called the Super Wagoneer. It had an upgraded V8 and upgraded four-wheel drive, so it was pretty much a better version. And then in, I believe it was 1984, Jeep revealed a newer unibody. It was like a smaller version of the Wagoneer, and then they named the regular Wagoneer the Grand Wagoneer. That's why, actually, even to this day, you have, like, over there's the Grand Wagoneer, which signifies it as the larger, more luxurious, more like high-end Wagoneer. And then in 1987, actually, Chrysler bought AMC, which owned Jeep, and, well, the Wagoneer popularity didn't even stop growing. And then actually in 1991, after 28 years of riding on the exact same platform, Jeep decided to end the Wagoneer series, and it was called the Final Edition. And then in the mid-90s, they actually brought it back. I believe 96 they brought it back for the JZ generation. It was actually only a 1 or 2 year run of a new version of the Wagoneer, but then they dropped that name, and then, well, a whole 28 or 29 years later, they brought back the Wagoneer name in 2023 as the Wagoneer. It was just the lower class. It was like a smaller version of the Grand Wagoneer, and it originally came with a 4-cylinder engine. Then in 2024, they introduced a 3.0 liter Hurricane engine. I almost messed it up with Huracan like Lamborghini, but Hurricane engine it was called, and that was more economical and powerful. And then in 2024, they kind of switched the V6 out for the V4, so the main engine was now the V6 because it was more powerful and better overall. And then, of course, you get to 2025 where Jeep reveals, well, the new Wagoneer, and then they reveal this, the wild Jeep Wagoneer S. And I don't know why I just named it S. I don't know why they added just the initial S to the end of the name to signify that's an EV. It would have kind of been nicer if they named it the Jeep Wagoneer E or something like that, but, well, they decided to name it the Jeep Wagoneer S for unknown reasons. Maybe it means sport, but, well, they forgot the EV part, because a lot of people, I feel like, will not realize this is an EV just because, like, if you look right here, this hood looks like it could fit a regular V6 or maybe even a V8 in there. But yeah, so I told you the history of the Wagoneer. I told you the performance, the 0 to 60, top speed, range, and pretty much everything you need to know about this car. I need to tell you guys the price of this thing, because this thing starts in standard trim at $67,000. Yes, 67 grand. I mean, it is about 17-ish grand cheaper than the Audi I reviewed, but I mean, I don't know if I'd spend 67 grand on a Jeep, even the Grand Wagoneer. But I mean, when we check this car out, we'll see if the price is worth it. So I've told you the price and everything else you need to know. Now let's check out the design. Okay, so now let's take a closer look at this car, and first thing first, let's start off with the front. And well, this is pretty cool. And actually, like I highlighted earlier, I really like this front light bar coming across here. You have, of course, your nighttime lights in there, and those are like your daytime running lights up here, and then your nighttime lights are, of course, hidden right there, which is nice. So it's not just like one single light, so it's not that good to see, but of course you have two, which is cool. Then you have this air intake. I don't know why, but it's like a fake air intake with some kind of sensors there, and this is plastic, but it actually feels pretty good quality. It feels almost like metal, which is interesting. But yeah, then also you have this plastic lip spoiler coming across here and makes it look a little more aggressive from a distance, which is also pretty nice and actually sticks out quite a good ways. Yeah, and also you have your air intakes right here to, well, keep those batteries and the electric motors, for that matter, cool. You have actually fog lights. It's actually quite interesting because these days it's actually pretty rare that I see fog lights on EVs. I'm not sure why, but I've been noticing like less and less fog lights. This is actually the first car I've ever reviewed that has fog lights. Strange. Yeah, then also you have the sensor box right here. You have, of course, you have your two sensors there, and actually just like what I highlighted on the Lamborghini, I'm a huge fan of this like perfectly symmetrical design, because literally if you cut this car in half, like both sides would look perfectly the same, which of course is really, really nice. Actually, I just noticed this, but actually if you look right here, check this out. Do you notice anything that like points towards a pretty old heritage? Well, it's these pieces right here, because, well, some of you guys might not notice this, but these strips right here kind of like say almost that this is a Jeep, because like if you look on something like a Jeep Wrangler from the 1940s, from World War II, all the way to now, which I'll actually show you right now, well, it's always had this really interesting like strip type of design. And actually, speaking of, let me show you guys what that looks like now. Yeah, and see, if you look right here, you still have that like strip design, even though it's kind of more integrated into the air intake. Even in the 90s and 40s for that matter, you still had that design. And actually, you can see what the cars used to look like, and now it's still pretty cool how they keep this like heritage piece right there. Yeah, so you saw what that looks like. That looked quite nice. And then also, if you look up here, it's not air intakes, but it's actually little like LED lights here, which is quite interesting. Little LED lights hidden under here. I guess that point down to make it look like it's glowing, maybe. Interesting, but I guess that's the point of it. At least that's what it seems like the point of it would be. And then also you have this really nice like little holes, well, not holes, but like these little like carved into the hood almost, is these pieces here with this dent in the middle that like, actually they usually have that for like cars that have V8 or something like that, but it also most likely helps with aerodynamics, which is of course really, really nice. Yeah, and then you come around to the side of the car and you have those really, really nice aero rims that I was talking about earlier. You have, of course, your Jeep lettering there as well, which looks quite nice. And I don't know if you could take this out or what, but I feel like you could maybe remove these or keep them on. I'm not sure, but this is the actual metal. and then this is like plastic aero pieces, so it makes it look more like a EV, because of course it needs to be more aerodynamic. But yeah, then also you have that brake pad right there. The brakes are pretty good in the test drive we did of this car, which you'll see later in the video. I mean, the braking was relatively good. It's just you could tell the car was heavy, because I mean, it does have probably 1,000-pound battery pack under the floor. But yeah, and then also you have this really nice design here. It almost makes it look kind of like a haunch, even though you can't really see it, but it makes it look a little more like detail and adds a little more like sporty look to it. At least for me it does, so that's also nice. And actually, if you guys haven't seen my videos, or if you guys don't know this, listen up, because this strip right here, most people probably won't even notice it, but this reflector right here actually never appears on cars anywhere else in the world. So this little thing right here is only prominent on cars in the US, and actually that's another way, like if you see a prototype or something, and you see it with those right there, then that most likely means it's going to be either sold in the US, created in the US, or something like that. So that's also a cool little thing. You have, of course, your nice Falcon ZX CT60 all-terrain tires, which are also nice. Or actually, no, it's not all-terrain, but all-sport, I believe it's called, tires. So those are also quite nice. We got Wagoneer lettering here, and the way the light's shining off of them, it sure looks cool. That's also pretty nice. Then you hop up here, and you got your tiny little mirrors. And actually, for those who don't know, the reason why they have these like small mirrors on electric cars compared to larger ones on like gas-powered cars, or ones that are just shaped like squares and are unaerodynamic, is actually because on electric cars you need to be as aerodynamic as possible, because if you want to be able to drive the longest, then you pretty much just need to be as aerodynamic as possible to do that range. But gas cars, you pretty much just need a good amount of power, and you can get anywhere. But yeah, then also you have this door pieces right here. Interesting, this is perfectly flat. Actually, yeah, that's perfectly flat, but this is, I like opened and closed it, and this is it's out of shape. This bends a little more in, maybe so it doesn't hit, but that's quite strange. And actually, I believe it's because of that. Yeah, it's bent a little more in so that it doesn't hit this piece right there. But that's because so it doesn't hit into this piece, but it looks almost like it's, I don't know, messed up or something strange. But yeah, then you also have this plastic trim across here, which also looks quite nice. It makes it look a little more like premium, which is interesting. But yeah, and then you come to the side view of this car, and the silhouette of this car is, I mean, quite nice. The way the light like stretches all the way to the side, and that back one as well, it looks nice and aggressive. And actually, one interesting thing is that if you come to the back here, look, the back's slanted. This is more like a coupe back SUV, but this super humongous wing, I guess, is acting like a huge chunk of it. So really, the car is like this. That's the true shape of the car, but then they added this extra like wing bits here, which is interesting. I don't know if it actually creates downforce, but it makes it look a little more like a regular SUV. But yeah, then of course you have your window back here. This is only 2-row, but it does have a huge rear window, and also the door handles, like you guys have seen, are also really cool. The way you just like click them and pull them out, not like a regular car. But yeah, and so that's also quite cool. You have the same tires, of course, back here. But yeah, and so now actually let's check out the back view of this car, which in my opinion is the strangest. It looks strange. You have this rear light, which actually quite like. It has like this really nice like flowy type of red light design, and then you have your backup lights back here as well. It would have been kind of nice if it was LED, because I feel like it would look a little more futuristic, but still, that is quite nice. And then also, you have this really nice wing right here. You have Jeep lettering across here, and then actually you have right here the stop light, which is interesting. It's just low, strange, but that's a seriously low stop light. And yeah, then you have these like indents right here on the wing of this car, which is interesting. I don't know why, but that's cool as well. And then also you have your antenna right there. It would have been kind of nice though if it was hidden, but still, that's pretty cool. You have 4xe right here, which for those who don't know what that means, 4xe is usually only put on the electric or hybrid Jeeps. And actually, if you look close on this E, it looks like a little like piece of a charging cord right there, which is interesting. But yeah, you have that nice 4xe lettering right there. And yeah, then also you have your backup camera right here, trunk opening. Sound like a scrape dance, something strange, but this is the trunk, which is also quite nice. And wow, this thing is spacious. Like literally, I could sit in this thing here. I could literally sit on this thing, and it's quite spacious. You could literally lay like a bed down here, a tiny little like square bed, and lay right here. But this is a seriously spacious trunk, which is really nice. You could see the seats are like lower than the trunk. You have little areas right here where you could store stuff right there. It'd be easier. And please comment if you guys know why they have this like indent right here on electric cars and they don't have it on gas cars. But yeah, I've never understood that. And then also you have that 12-volt DC charging right there. And then also you have okay, it looks like buttons, but it's not buttons. So there's strange little not buttons right there as well. But yeah, this trunk right here is really spacious. If I find out how big it is, I'll put it right here so that you guys can see. But that is also quite nice. And actually, check this out. Do you guys know what this is? Here, I'll lift this up. This is the side view of the new Wagoneer, and it says established in 1963. So it goes back to its roots, nice strong American Wagoneer roots. And if you lift this up, this is just a mat actually. If you lift it up, you have charging cables in there, and then also to fix flats, you have a little machine in there. So that is also really nice. And actually, one more thing before we will check out the rest of this exterior is actually that you could press this, hold to set, so you could set how high it is. So let's say you're my height, and let's see, like I can't really reach, okay? I can't reach the trunk. So I could press this to set how high I want the trunk to be. I've actually seen that on another car. I don't remember which car it was. I believe it was like a older car that I actually didn't review, but I actually seen that before, which is interesting. So yeah, I think we've checked out all of this trunk. Now let's close it up and check out the rest of this exterior.
6.5 hours later.
One thing I could say though that I'm not a huge fan about this car is that like when you have to close the trunk manually, it opens automatically, but you have to close it manually. I mean, that's not really too good, but I mean, you have to deal with it. Yeah, then also you have your reflectors right there, which look really, really nice. You have, of course, your big, like, chunky rear right there, which also looks cool, and a relatively flat underbody. But yeah, so I think we've checked out all of the exterior of this car. Now, let's hop inside and check out the interior. Open that door, and as soon as you get in here, this thing is comfortable, to tell the truth. I didn't think I'd be saying this about a Jeep, but inside it's really good. It's spacious, comfortable, and actually now let's check out the design of this car. And you've got the window switches here, you have the lock and unlock buttons, you have some storage in there, which also looks really nice. You could put your bottle there, and then you could put maybe a bag of chips or iPhone or something right there. Yeah, then also you have your little handle area, which can also probably be storage, I'm not sure, but you have this little handle area right here, which is also quite cool. At least for me, like, it's kind of weird, like, seeing, like, this piece right here, because, like, Porsches and stuff, they have that type of handle, and, like, I'm just looking around here, and I can't see a handle. It's hidden right there. And actually, probably the only thing I'd kind of be worried about is just, like, I don't know how, like, if the electricity runs out in this car, will he be able to get out, like on Teslas and stuff like that, like what happened before. Now they fixed it, but what happened before where they didn't have the manual doors, like I feel like it might be a little bit unsafe if the electricity goes out or something like that. But yeah, then also you have your ambient lighting here. You have this nice, like, I don't even know how to explain it, but it's like an X, whole bunch of X type of design here. Maybe they're waiting for Xaaron Reviews to review this car. But yeah, so you have this nice X design here. You have this, can't even tell, it's like purplish red stitching. Interesting. We got this like purplish red type of stitching there. You have more of this nice silver trim going all the way across under here. And then you have, interesting, that's not a screen, but you have this like interesting like little, it almost looks like cut in this little plastic, in this little like black plastic area here. Then you have your AC right there, and it actually looks like it spans all the way across, but well, funny enough, you have this, check this out. It's like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just fake, I guess. So this is fake, but this is real. So half of it's fake and half of it's real AC, which is also quite interesting. But yeah, so that's also quite interesting. I guess there's an airbag hidden in there because it says airbag right there. It's also quite strange. You have actually your like your emergency blinker lights is perfectly in the middle, and I like how everything is almost perfectly symmetrical. Jeep, good job on that. That is also quite nice. You have your quite spacious area right here where you could put your wallet or your first aid kit or anything like that. Is also quite nice. But yeah, then also you have this leather up here with this speakers up there. And actually, speaking of speakers, I forgot to mention these are Alpine speakers. So these are, well, let me just say, there's some pretty good speakers. You have seriously good sound quality because we actually tested it. Okay, so now we're going to be test driving the 2025 Jeep Wagoneer S EV. And this thing has about like 320 miles of range, so the range is actually pretty good for actually Jeep's first ever EV. And I mean, this thing is also a rocket ship because, I mean, 3.4 seconds 0 to 60, that's actually faster than an Audi that costs almost double the price. And actually, I reviewed that 2 reviews ago. So we're just waiting for the light to turn green and we'll show you guys how fast this thing is. Okay. Let's see. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. That thing, like literally my head, I felt like it was being pushed. Wow, my head felt like it was being pushed into the seat because this thing is so fast. This is probably the fastest thing we've ever driven, right? Like on this channel, this is the fastest thing I've ever ridden. Besides the Porsche 911 Turbo S, this is wildly fast. Wow. How do you think the steering is? Yeah. Yeah, the steering's pretty good. Suspension also feels, pretty good. And overall, like after checking out this car, I think overall Jeep has done a pretty good job, especially since this is their first ever EV and it is an SUV and it's like this quick and overall pretty nice. Here, maybe we should run it to 60 miles an hour to see how quick it is. Like when we get to another stoplight so that we could show like how quick the 0 to 60 is. This thing is crazy. Like literally the video doesn't even, like if you're watching this video, it probably doesn't even look that fast, but this thing is wild. Oh, wow. And this thing could even like smoke some supercars, like an old Aston Martin DB9 and stuff like that. This is actually faster than some of those before. Those are like the flagship, the wildest cars. But now you have SUVs that cost a quarter of the price that are just as fast. And actually, interestingly, you have like a digital sound and all. It sounds like, it doesn't actually sound like real clicking. It sounds like digital clicking almost. I don't know how to explain it. That's also funny. Okay, we're gonna, okay, the braking on this thing, I mean, it's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, because it has, like, such a big battery pack, just like all EVs, it's gonna weigh, like, probably at least 1,000 pounds more than if there was, like, a gas version of this.
Yeah, the handling is not as responsive as it is on the Audi.
I mean, it is an Audi, so, like, German cars probably have some of the best handling out of all cars.
Yeah, once it accelerates, it doesn't. I don't feel as if I have as much control over the vehicle as I do with the Audi or with the Tesla, for that matter. Tesla had a pretty agile handling and very responsive as well. But so far, I would say Audi has the best.
So Audi has the best, Tesla second, and this is third. And the Tesla,
Out of those three, now we haven't driven Taycan and anything else in the EV market to compare to.
yeah, so like at least so far, at least cars this is the best. But that would be really wild if we were able to like test drive the Taycan Turbo GT or something like that, because this thing has wild G-force, but the G-force is gonna be like insane, because this thing, I don't know, probably creates 2 to 3 G's. What do you think of G-force? And that thing will probably create like about 6, and a rocket ship creates actually about 5. So that thing is wild. But this thing for a SUV that is only around 40 grand. I mean, I think this is a pretty good car overall. So now we'll be seeing what it's actually like how quick it is really to 0 to 60. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh. That is crazy. If anyone has a timer, time that. And actually, if I end up timing it, I'll put it down here and show you guys how quick this thing is, because it feels wildly fast. But yeah, so now we've checked out driving this car, let's keep checking out the car. That's also one really nice thing about this car. But yeah, and then also you have right here your mirror right there, which is also quite nice. You have your little LED lights here, and then you have little like speakers there as well. You got your handles here as well, which also look quite nice. And actually, view out of this car, personally, I think it's pretty good. Like the window, I mean, it's pretty easy to see out of the window, even though it's like so slanted. So of course, that's also a really nice thing. But yeah, and actually, one thing we need to do, well, 2 things. One, we have to check out the seats, because the seats are, let me just tell you, they're pretty good. Like literally, for something that's a Jeep, I mean, they're pretty good. I would never say that, like before, I never think that a Jeep is actually like nice, but this thing is quite luxurious, to tell the truth. And actually, speaking of luxurious, now let's do the Xaaron Views, I guess you could call it the Xaaron Views seatbelt check. And these seatbelts pass. They're pretty good, these seatbelts. That's also really nice, and you have a great amount of adjustability. You could adjust them up or all the way down, so that's also really nice. And yeah, so the seatbelts are great. The seat is quite comfy. It's made of all these nice like leathers with this like foam underneath, and actually interestingly, you have like all these holes here, which is for ventilation. So like you could have like airflow flowing through these seats so that you feel cooler, so that you're not like as sweaty or hot. So that's also a nice little luxurious touch. You of course have a nice amount of adjustability for the headrest, and you can make these seats go like up and down a lot. You have right here, you have like a lot of adjustability. These things can go really high up, like literally almost in line with the side area right here. So they can go really nice and up, because then it's the easiest to film and see out the windows. But if you're taller, it's easier just to put them low. So that's also quite nice. You have also your mirror right here, which is also nice sideless mirror. And no, you don't have that feature where you can just click it down and then you could switch to the camera, but that would have been pretty nice. Then you could open your trunk electrically via here. You have your lights right here, and you can only turn on one, interestingly, or you could turn on all four of them at once, which is also quite nice. You got SOS, assist, and you have open and auto close. You have tail vent and open and auto close again. And actually, watch this. You could open this up because this is an entire glass roof. I forgot to mention, but this is a humongous glass roof. So if you want a whole bunch of nice sunny sky views, then you could also open this up or close. That is quite nice. I don't know why you have two buttons though for, oh, okay. So you press this one, hold it down, open, and it opens up, so you have a beautiful view of the sky. And then this little like net thing comes up, so if bugs are flying or just wind in general, so they don't accidentally fly into your cabin, especially if it's a wasp or something, that would definitely suck. But yeah, so let's close that. So I guess this one is for closing the actual roof, and that's why it shows like, I don't know, what do you guess is a glass roof, and this one is for opening like the fabric part, because it shows like all these lines. I guess that's supposed to signify fabric, but yeah, it's also quite interesting. And you can just press it once hard, and then it opens or closes just all the way automatically, so that is also quite nice. But yeah, and so check out that really nice feature. You also have a little area right here to put your sunglasses, which is also quite nice, and it's almost like impossible to tell they're there, but for someone who reviewed a lot of cars, it's quite easy to tell. But yeah, so I think we've checked out, I mean, most of this area. I just want to check out a couple more things before we hop onto the screen. But yeah, and actually, I actually sold this earlier. You have this really nice like strip across here, but then you press this up, and you have a huge amount of storage here. You could charge 2 iPhones via here, and it's strange, but you have like a credit card sign and a phone charging sign, or a battery charging sign. Strange, but I guess this is to charge your phone, so that's also quite nice. You have this really, really deep amount of storage in here, which is of course nice as well. And this is always like open. This is also open as well, but this is always open, so you could just slide your phone into there, and that's also quite cool. And actually, you have also your Jeep key, which you guys probably haven't seen, but you have your lock and unlock. You have X2. I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean. And you have your open right here. Okay, so you're supposed to press this twice to open it, and then press this twice to spin in circles or something. You know, I'm just joking, but to do something that, I guess, I don't know, you have honk button, and then you just have your Jeep lettering there. So that's a nice little key here. Put that down there, and then you have sand mode, snow mode, eco mode, auto mode, and sport. Too bad we drove this car in auto mode, so just regular mode, but if we drove it in sport, that would have been insane. And you actually change gears via this. You spin this right to go to reverse, neutral, or drive, and left to go to neutral, reverse, or park. So that's also nice. You could turn off the car or turn it on via this little button here as well, which is also quite nice. But yeah, and now let's check out the screen right here. And you have this really nice setup here. You have low, you have the seat logo, you have the time, it's exactly 1 o'clock, and you have your surrounding camera. See, and if you turn the wheel, actually, then the entire thing turns, which is quite interesting. So the entire thing turns depending on if you turn the wheel. Quite interesting, but also quite cool. You could have a back view of the car, front view, top and front view, and just the back view, which is quite nice as well. You could exit off of there, and then you have 3D mode as well if you want, and you could zoom out or zoom in. So That's also quite nice. You have apps right there. You have activate services, Alexa, AM radio, ambient, color personalization. So you just scroll this across and let go and wait for it to change. Let's put it in red to signify a sporty mode. I put it in red, but check this out. It looks more orange to me. It's supposed to look like this, but instead it looks like this. Strange, but yeah. And then also you could turn up. Oh, you could turn up the brightness of it, or you could turn down the brightness of it. Dang, I turned it all the way off, but you could turn it all the way up, but it still doesn't look red. Strange. But anyway, you have audio settings, autonomy, controls, comfort. You have driver curb view, driver blind spot view, and let's see the curb view. You have driver profile, heated wheel, FM, electric vehicle, rear view camera, software updates, and then you can look at all the vehicle cameras, and you can press a favorite camera system. You can go to autonomy, and I'm assuming, so this thing I guess can drive autonomously. This looks like the concept car that they're showing right here, but this thing could supposedly drive autonomously, which is quite interesting as well. And then you have Wi-Fi hotspot, weather, and so that is also quite nice. And see, you have autonomy button right there. You can see on all sides if it's working. But yeah, then you also have electric vehicle controls, settings, and then you go to home and you have the exact like you just have a simple little setup. You have your maps right here, and then you have, of course, your media and I guess your sound right there. And then you have comfort. You could choose, strange, but you could choose how hot or cold the seats are. You go to phone, and you can see everyone's phones. You could have vehicle settings, navigation, and so that is all of that cool setup. So yeah, we've checked out all of the screen. It's not the quickest to tell the truth, but I mean it's still pretty good. You have your front view, you have screen off. You can just press this, or you can press this, turn the screen back on, and this adjusts everything from the AC, the how fast it's turning and everything. But interestingly, you can adjust it via here, but it's not that fast to tell the truth. So the screens aren't the greatest. I mean, Jeep never had really that great of screens, but I mean, this is slightly better than most of them, but still not too great. But yeah, so you got those two screens there. And now that we checked out all these screens, let's move on to this area here, the driver's area. You have, of course, your nice Wagoneer steering wheel here. You have all your buttons, like you have phone buttons, you have call buttons, you have like different sensors and stuff like that. And then you could set your speed there. You see the set minus and set plus. You can actually set the speed you want to go. So if you're on the highway or just on a extremely long road trip, you could like just press one of those buttons and you don't even have to touch the pedal, which is interesting. You just have to sit back and control the car, which is also quite nice. Yeah, then also you have right here your miles an hour, you have your Fahrenheit, you have your, I don't know what that is, but you also have your time right there. You have your park, reverse, neutral, drive. You have your battery percentage, 50%. You have the miles that this car has, 718. You have auto right there, and so that's also quite nice. But yeah, so you have that little setup there. You also have, of course, a picture of your car. That one's white, but this one's black. But you have a rear view of your car to see, I guess, if any cars are around you or anything like that. So that is also quite nice. But yeah, so I think we've checked out all of this crazy car. Now let's hop in the back and check it out. And actually, one more thing before we check it out. The back is, this thing has like some kind of button. Like, it looks like home, but yeah, there's a little home button there. You have 1, 2, and 3 little white dots there, which is also pretty cool. You have, of course, your nice little pedals right there, which is also quite nice. And then you come to the side and you have everything from your blinker lights, you have park, and everything like that. So that is also quite nice. And so I think I've checked out all of these front seats. Now let's hop into the back. Okay, so now we're in the back seats of this cool Jeep. So now let's check it out. And first thing first, well, I put the seats as back as they go so that, well, at least this one, so that you could see how much leg room I have when they're all the way back. And then that one is, I guess, good enough so a 6-foot person could drive it comfortably. So back here I have a good amount of like knee room. You have this nice little bungee right here that you could put books or something like that. You have little hanging areas right here. You could hang like a tiny little shirt this big or something like that. But yeah, and you have that nice area right there. I like how you have this like bend in the seat, just like on Mercedes, so I have more space, because if you didn't have this bend, just look at this. If you didn't have this bend, this is where the seat would go. My legs would be like mashed against this, so I wouldn't fit at all, but it's really, really nice that they decided to add that in. And then, of course, you have your ambient lighting here. You have your speakers there. You have your window switches there, lock and unlock. And then you have, of course, your nice area right here where you could put the bottle right there, which is also quite nice. But yeah, and then also you have your seat belts right here. Kind of hard to get into, but they're still as good back here as up there, and it's of course nice and comfortable here as well. Then of course you get to the middle seat, and I'm actually quite fond of the way, let me move this, but I'm quite fond of the way that this is almost flat. It would have been nice if it was all the way flat, but it's almost flat, and you have this little like indent under here, like I've been talking about, would be nice on cars. So Jeep must have read my mind, but that is also quite nice. So my feet go in actually quite deep. You have 2 USB-C charging plugs right there, and then just this little piece right here. You have, of course, your AC right here, which is also quite nice. And this middle seat is not that great. You don't have a headrest. Well, actually, wait, you do. Wow. So actually, even Rolls-Royces don't have headrests on their middle seats, but this is a headrest, so that is quite nice. And these middle seats, it's not the most comfortable because of this, the armrest, and I don't know why it's at such a strange angle, but this is all the way down. It's just connected by this. Oh, okay, so you have to click it down, and then you have your armrest here, which is nice. You have your 2 cup holders right there, which is also quite cool. And yeah, so that's also quite nice. Then also you can see out of your roof here with the glass, even though it's covered over right now. You see you could also have your nice handle here, and then you could put this to hang suits on and stuff like that. But yeah, then also you could press this. Oh no, okay, I thought you could turn the light off by pressing that, but I guess you can't. So those lights just stay on, I guess, all day. But yeah, so that is also interesting. But yeah, so actually, let's hop over here so I could show you guys what it looks like with the 6-foot person, how comfortable it is for me. And of course, you got a lot of more leg room here. Probably, I'd say 4 inches of leg room, 3-4 inches of leg room, and I can stretch out quite well, so it's pretty nice. And of course, headroom is great for me, as you could see, so that is also quite nice. And then also you have your speakers there. But yeah, so now it's about and near the end of our video, because this was quite a cool one. So we have to find the door. It's kind of strange, it's just electric. I don't know if they have manual. But yeah, so I hope you guys liked this video. Remember to like and subscribe to Xaaron Reviews, and see y'all next time. And actually, let me just ask you guys one favor. Please check out my X account, also labeled Xaaron Reviews, with the link in the description below, where I post all of the latest and greatest news from Jeep, Ford, Ferrari, Tesla to Porsche. So I hope you guys liked this video. Remember to like and subscribe, and comment what you thought about this car, and see y'all next time.